Oh, I think I'm going to start speaking about my personal experience of clearing into consciousness. I was just really relieved, man. Like, I feel like, okay, you know what? It's cool. I understand. I am central to a lot of what came up for me, but it's me. Like, if I just keep showing up for myself, I'll get through it. It doesn't have to be one big, massive aha moment, one big, massive shift, but finding the courage to love myself enough to enforce my boundaries, to not center other people in my life, and center my love for myself, center my love for my ancestors, center my love for God enough to protect that love for what it is by enforcing my boundaries. And I'll get there. I'll manifest my intention one small step at a time. That's really like my major takeaway this time. And I'm just, I'm so glad. And I'm also so glad that for me, as I've continued to do the work, in as much as it is still going deeper and deeper, it's feeling less and less difficult to do, and less like traumatic. I'm not experiencing this incredible whiplash with it because, when I think back to so we didn't have a clearing into consciousness last August. We would have had the clearing that would have happened in June and stayed open, I think, or July, which was when it was eclipse season, which was the first one. And I think that one stayed open for like the full 21 days from the full moon until the time of the eclipses. And we processed, and my goodness, like we went through it. And I think on the first day when we started, we were about 30 of us. And by the time that the group closed out, we had grown to, I think, I don't know if it was 100 or 300 members in the group, but we were in it together and we were doing the work. And at that point, all of the work was live. I think how we did it then, the very first one, was that the first full moon session was live, and then we had the eclipse session on the recorded footage. Then we came to September, and I don't know, did we have a clearing in September or did we have it in August? I think we might have had it in September. And I was thinking at that point that I was going to do it every quarter, like every solstice, every equinox, solstice to equinox. And then that September, they were like, yeah, so we're going to change this now and we're going to do it every month. And from that September, when there were like 300 and something, 400 of us, we've grown to now 1,400 of us and some change. And it's been such an incredible time for the past 12 months of doing this ritual, this work, these integrations every full moon with all of you here on this big group. And in the past couple of months, as we've been transitioning to the website, how that whole shift has been facilitated, that too has been such a patient endeavor to do, and to know that as I do it in full view of all of you. That's just the way that the cookie crumbles. But what happened for me was that with the last solstice this past June, what I was told is that not everybody who's in this group is here doing the work, you know? And we need a safe space for those participants who are serious about doing the work. in order for them to be able to debrief in the company of those who are also doing the work with them. And also for me to be able to sustainably continue to do this work, it needs to become paid work, because the period in which this was needed as free has passed, and those who needed it at that moment in time have had the fortune to encounter it, have utilized it, and have seen the necessary shifts in their lives. And I'm so happy for those of you who have. So many testimonials here in the group have spoken of how much your lives have changed. And my life has changed irreversibly. And I'm so grateful that it has. And I'm so grateful that you've been there for me as I've done this work side by side with you, because I too need support in this journey. And having the safe space that you've created with me has been phenomenal for me. And again, if you've done clearing into consciousness with us and you really want to, take this work forward with you and use it to shift your life forward, I invite you to join Pivoting into Purpose, which is our 6-part lifetime access course. If you have any questions about how Pivoting into Purpose works, it works very much like clearing into consciousness works, in terms of the healing modality is guided meditation, the healing modality is guided journaling, and again, we do candle work. But clearing into consciousness is the shadow work. And the shadow work is work that we do at a certain time, not continuously. We do it intermittently. The reason being that the shadow work is where we sit down and we look and we observe and we reflect and we find the cracks where they are, and we look into them and we get in there and we clear it up and then rebuild ourselves. But with anything that you look at too closely in that fashion, it's very easy to get to nitpicking and not seeing the things that you need to be grateful for. And that's where pivoting into purpose comes. We need affirmation work. And most of us haven't grown up in spaces where we are being affirmed, and we don't have an inner voice that is naturally affirming, and we haven't interacted with our ancestors in a manner that is affirming. So pivoting into purpose is that day-to-day work, that work that we need to be doing consistently all the time. And that is the work of radical affirmation, wherein we bring in and allow our ancestors to affirm and guide us and show us the light of our path of purpose. And that work we do from solstice to solstice. And then we come back and we review. How far have we come with the goals that we've set? How do we go about accomplishing that? Did we do the things that we were guided to do the last time that we went through this process? And just making sure that we do cross those T's and dot those I's and continue to build this affirming relationship with our ancestors. And intermittently, as we do that work, we also continue to do the work of clearing into consciousness. So ultimately, if you are in pivoting into purpose, you have your lifetime access to clearing into consciousness as well. Bagete, there's not much for me to say. I've had an amazing time sharing this journey with you in this way. Changing the clearing into consciousness work into paid work means that I will be able to go back to my first free work, which is YouTube. So if there are questions that you have and you feel that I could do a video about them and get in depth about them and answer them in the context of a video, please feel free to respond to this video and post those questions, and I'll definitely see if I can do a video about them. Some questions that you find yourself having require a consultation, and in that case, I'll definitely mention mention that to you. Otherwise, you can probably expect a video about the question that you're asking in the near future on the Sangoma Society YouTube page. We're growing. There's been so much growth, and that growth has really catapulted me into spaces that I haven't anticipated, and sometimes taken my time away from being able to do things that I've been doing in the past. Some of those things has been like YouTube, and other of those things has been one-on-one consultations. But for the last 2 weeks, we have been doing one-on-one consultations. However, we hadn't opened up for bookings as we had been fully booked for several months. So now that we've cleared the backlog of the previous bookings, and I know you might be watching this and you're like, oh my goodness, I haven't had my consultation yet. You haven't had your consultation yet, but it's been scheduled, so it's still coming soon. However, now you have the opportunity to book your readings for the rest of the year. And I look forward to seeing you, Samo. If you had a reading in the course of this year and you haven't been able to book your cleansing or insebenzo that you needed, I encourage you to please use the channels that were made available to you post-consultation to make your bookings now. The work is much. I look forward to growing in this journey with you. I look forward to flourishing with you. I look forward to sharing in your wins, to having the happiness that we often share in these spaces as we make our breakthroughs. And to you, I say, Mabutete ubumnyama, ubese kuvela okhanya. Makose, makose.